Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Greg, and welcome once again to another Rip Roaring Reds podcast. I'm joined on this wonderful Saturday evening by my co-host, Jace. How are you doing, Jace?
Yeah, this has been a lovely Saturday. Watched the Grand Prix, watched the Arsenal. What else have I done? Not much, but it's been a good day because we won, and we're top of the league, so I'm not complaining. How about you?
Top of the league. We are top of the league. That's all that matters, Jace. That's all that matters. I had daddy daycare today, so I went to a clip and climb. If you've ever been to a clip and climb, it's like
Nope.
rock. The indoor rock climbing, but mainly for kids. So you hoist yourself in, and you're basically then protected, and you're not going to fall. But being a 38-year-old adult, I was much more nervous than my kids, put it that way, and I didn't enjoy having to drop down from the climbing bits. A bit nervy for me. I'm too big of a guy and too old of a guy to be doing this kind of stuff.
Oh, mate,
There's one. It's called Stairway to Heaven. It's like a Mario, like the green Mario tubes. You climb up these ones all the way to the top, and then you basically just jump off the top. I couldn't even make it all the way to the top. I'm too scared.
Oh, mate. I'll tell you, you love rides.
I know. I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of a vertigo. I don't know. Something like that.
If I'm going to find something crazy for you to do in Vegas, you're not going to like.
Yeah, probably not. Right. So we're going to get into a big game. First and foremost, if you're here joining us for the first time, or if you're a regular viewer, please do give us a like on the video. If you're not subscribed already, because many of you aren't, give it a subscribe. We're going to be getting into Arsenal at top of the league, beating Brentford 2-1 at the Emirates. And we're going to start our show, like we always start every single show, with a Rip Roaring review. It's going to be, I reckon it's going to be good. We got a positive Jace. He's watched the Grand Prix. He's watched the Arsenal. We're top of the league. It can't go any other way. Jace, Rip Roaring review. What is it? Give it to me.
Just thought that was a bit different. Don't you miss those kind of games? Those tense. I was getting PTSD in the second half from that game. We were at Brentford game last year. Didn't get a ticket this year, but I was, different, right? Isn't 5 and 6-0 just boring? Don't you get bored of it? You want something different, want to change, want a bit of entertainment, want to be on edge a bit.
I'm not too sure I
money's
do.
Worth.
There's definitely an element that you're talking about here. That when I watched, I think I was watching City against Copenhagen a little bit in the week, and they went up like straight away, and their crowd just don't seem bothered, and that must be how they feel every week because they just batter teams all the time. And like I say, does it get boring?
I think this is the thing though, right? Like that's, that last week's game. Why am I forgetting who we played last week? Sheffield United on Monday night. It was like 5-0 by half time. And I was like, this is good, but they are awful. And I don't know if this is a bit too tedious. If we're going to smash another 5 goals in the second half, then great. I'll watch this. This is going to be entertaining. But if this is just like we're going to like kind of slightly come off the gas and we might only get 1 goal and it will just finish 5-6-0, like this is boring again. Yeah, I know I'm complaining about winning 5-6-0, right? But sometimes you watch football for that adrenaline kick, that for those moments in the ground when something you really need pulls through and there's this, I don't know, just feelings that are released and the joy. We've experienced it many times last season. I'd have loved to have been in the ground today when that goal went in. I think it was just one of those environments again. I think we were worried at the beginning in the first half of the year that we weren't having those environments in the ground. And I think it's very clear from the last few games that environment is back as the teams up their energy, as we've upped our intensity, as things are becoming more important. We're in a race. We're in it for the end now. We're not in this kind of like we've blown our load and the end of the season we kind of drop off. This feels like it's the right time. Everything's important now, and it's going to be crunch time, and it's going to be like this every game to the end of the season. So 5 and 6-0 are great. I prefer those against better opponents to really give me the sentiment of feeling that it's it's a useful win, if that makes sense, in regards to the fact that we can actually go and beat Villa 5-4 or 5-0. That would make me much more happier than beating a Sheffield United. But an intense win, a victory like that against Brentford 2-1, I'll take it. It's a great win. And we played really, really well, right? Ultimately, they just played low block. They weren't offering much.
Yeah, I mean, well, when they countered, I was a bit scared. And I don't know if I can put that down to the goalkeeper, which we will get into.
PTSD.
Well, maybe, yeah. And then maybe there's a bit of fear. And your written review there, Jace, really fantastic. I loved it. And I agree with a lot of your points. Like the euphoria that would have been, if we had been there in the ground, I said to you just pre-pod, very reminiscent of the Bournemouth game where Reece Nelson scored that absolute rocket and won us the game. We were there. I remember filming us a video of us singing at the end of that game. The belief around that ground at that very moment in time was just palpable. And you're right, the feeling of that creeping back into the ground now, and this team right now is certainly there. It's tempered. It's a definitely different tempered expectation because it's very different to last season. We were in a big fight, agreed, but the crowd seem really into it. The atmosphere seems good. The club are obviously adding a lot of layers to the fandom by the flags and the tifos and various different stuff that they're doing with the fan groups as well, which has been really good. Yeah, would love to have been there too. My overall feelings about this game, though, for me, you mentioned PTSD, and I did feel a little bit of it. And my PTSD was maybe more reminiscent of the Newcastle game from last season, I think it was, where they just time wasted and they were like doing long throws and they were just like decking around with the ball and just wasting time at any opportunity they had to stifle us. And it worked for them when we did it. Is that the game? Did we draw against them at that point? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a draw. It was a frustrating draw because they just played low block. They almost didn't want to be there. I mean, they came.
Well, it's like they didn't want to play football, and they like I said, I feel Brentford a little bit. They were going to counter on us, which is what they did during this game. And it felt like you said, this felt like a pattern of old Arsenal games. I had that repetition of looking at the clock. 60 minutes. We've got half an hour to score. Okay, 25 minutes to score, 20 minutes to score, 50 minutes to score. And I've been in many games where I've watched, and it's like you can start to sense if it's going to happen or not. I think I texted you because I was going, it's coming. We were banging and knocking at their door for a long period of time. I think we had a series of about 6 corners. And I was like, Nicholas Yova, this is where you earn your money, mate. This is like what he's done all season for us. And I was just hopeful that it was going to happen. And those corners just weren't. Brentford did quite good in the air, in our corners, and really didn't give us a lot from them.
No, it did do well.
Yeah, but we were persistent. We were belligerent. We kept on at them. We kept trying to knock on that door. Some really good play by a lot of our players that I'm sure we'll get into. And ultimately, it's very different to last weekend. You know how I said last week, we were the last team on. The pressure was on us to ensure that we kept up with the big dogs. Liverpool won, Man City won. We had to win. There was no other option. This was the opposite. This is the reverse. Me and you now can sit with our feet up on the couch tomorrow, watching Liverpool, Man City, and hope for that draw. And we'll still be top of the league. And that's a good feeling to have, in a different type of pressure that this club. We've been in pressurized situations before where we're behind up front. They are learning, and the mental fortitude, they're learning to deal with this kind of pressure in different ways this season, which I feel is a good mental growth for this team, and something that we've talked about before that maybe they didn't have or haven't had before, that I also thought was really good.
Yeah, look, I'll take it. The thing I think is that there's still pressure on us. Like today, there was still pressure on us. We knew what it meant. I definitely see your point around rather having your feet up right on the table, on the coffee table tomorrow. And yeah, that's great. But there was pressure on us today, knowing that we could go top of the league. I don't think the pressure would have been any different when we played the game this weekend.
Okay.
I think that will be the same pressure to the end of the season, because I think City are going to be this just rolling machine.
They are a juggernaut. We know that.
Yeah.
Well, there's 10 games left, right? So it's 10 cup finals, basically.
Yep.
In reality.
Yeah.
And there's 30 points. There's 30 points up for grabs there. So I always thought that when, looking at this game, if this was a draw, what would you be feeling at this point in time, do you think?
Oh, I'd be down.
I know you'd be down, but what do you think in terms of our ambitions, our hopes? Do you think that would almost kill it, or do you think there's enough stings in the tail in those 30 points to allow us to sneak back in?
I don't think it would kill our ambition. Dropping 1 or 2 points and drawing 1 or 2 games between now and the end of the season, I think we'll have the same momentum until it's mathematically not possible. We'll have the same kind of momentum to the end of the season. But the reality, I think, is if we do drop points, it is genuinely over. I don't think it will change how we play and how we go into games. But I do also think that it will be really the end of the title race. That's if Man City continue to be persistent in the way that they traditionally are at this time of year. And I think
they are as well at the moment. I don't know how many games they've won on the bounce at the moment, but it's a lot.
Yeah. So we're all expecting that anyway, right? So we know the standard. So yeah, I think that I don't think Arteta and the players will maybe think it's game over. They have to play for every point. But as a fan, I think it would probably be over. And that's not me being That's not me being pessimistic. That's just me being realistic. Yeah.
All right. Look, I want to get into some players because there's a lot to talk about in this game. Some good and some bad. I want to start off with some good. I want to start off by hailing what I truly believe is one of the best signings, not just of our recent times, but in Premier League recent times. I feel he'll go down if this Arsenal team continues in the trend and trajectory that they are and continues fighting for titles and maybe winning something. Declan Rice will go down in the echelons of history in this Arsenal team because I'm running out of superlatives and kind of things to say and to talk about him. He comes up in big moments, just big moments. I always look back at that Man United game, the goal that he scored there, the goal that he scored here. I had a look to kind of have a look, and he's got 12 goals and assists this year. It's by far his best output in any shirt for any club. But the type of position that he plays and the role that he plays in the team, the things that he does, that type of output is not what you would have expected. I was never expecting him to really offer anything going forward to us. He might sneak an odd goal and assist. And I grant a lot of them might have came from corners because he is an absolutely exemplary and extraordinary corner kick taker. There's some of those corners that are just goalkeepers can't save them. They can't come for them. They're in this dangerous area where they're like stuck in the ether that no one can get to, yet defenders kind of have to deal with it. And I just, there's moments where he has come up really clutch for us, where he drags this team by the scruff of its neck, drags us forward and really brings us into games. And I just, just truly thankful for Declan Rice. It's £105 million. Well spent. I don't know if there's anything you want to add or something maybe you saw in this game that was different to what I've seen, or is it all praise?
I mean, there's a hell of a lot of praise there from you, and I would echo the same thoughts. But I guess just to take a slightly different twist on it. So I wasn't anticipating this amount of goals, assists, yeah, goals, numbers. That's impressive. What I'm seeing. What I like about what he's doing is he's taking shots. He hit the bar randomly out of nowhere. And I was like,
I love the goalkeeper. Just like the goalkeeper was like, that was great. I watched that.
And it's also the type of goals he's scoring as well, right? His goals are quality. That finish against West Ham was lovely. I think he scored a great. Was it? Did he have a tap in against? Yeah, he did have a tap in against Sheffield United.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lovely. It was a love. But the way he finished the cutback pass and put it in the bottom corner was a really high class finish. And then the header, that was beautiful. That header, like, if you want to put it anywhere in that goal, as Ben White whips that ball in, you want it as far away nestled in the bottom corner away from the keeper as possible. It's exactly where he put it. Keeper couldn't do nothing. So yeah, the only thing I just really want to add to what you're saying is just superb goals. The high class and quality of his finishing is something I didn't expect.
Yeah,
I knew everything else, but goals in his locker I didn't expect.
He's the all-round footballer. Get you a man who can do both, and we have. And it is, like you say, I didn't expect it either, and it's something quite incredible, I think. I'm not too sure where he ranks in terms of our overall numbers, but I reckon he must be in the top 3 or 4 goal scorers for the team. He's got 6 goals. 6 goals, 6 assists. He's got to be up there.
Just on a slight side note, when you've got Bellingham and Rice, right, there's no excuse why England shouldn't win the Euros, right? Surely we've got the best midfield surely that's the best midfield in the world, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but then it's just our defensive, maybe.
I wasn't talking about the defense,
I know, but like midfield, midfield will be fine. It's just that, and Southgate plays extremely boring football. There's no way he gives Declan Rice the same freedom and fluidity that he has with this Arsenal side as he does in the England setup. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, Southgate is not Arteta. Yeah, obvious. Right. I reckon maybe our opinions are going to differ a little bit on this one. Let's see. I called this section Ramsdale Relief. I've seen other notes of other people on Twitter call it Ramsdale Redemption, depending on how you look at it. I've got my thoughts and feelings on this one. I am going to hand the mic and the baton over to you, Jace, because I'd like to hear your thoughts on Ramsdale's performance generally, and kind of where do you see what's next for him?
Oh, it's interesting you say you think we'll differ. I don't think we'll differ. I don't want to keep kicking the puppy. That's the problem. Look, he hasn't played for a long time. Am I making excuses here for him? I think I am. I think I'm trying because I like him. I like the guy as a human. I did like the performances he put in for us, but we just had to go to another level. As you said before in previous conversations and previous pods recently, there's no debate anymore. We went up a level. But we had to play Ramsdale for this game. We had to get behind him. I think the crowd did get behind him even after he made the mistake. He did make some good saves after he made that mistake. Obviously, that mistake, that we could tear him left, right, and centre apart for that mistake. I'm sure you might. But and I'll hear what you say in a minute. But for me, it's just kind of like we knew that he always has that as a risk, and that was just a risk of playing him. I mean, the only sad thing really, when I was thinking about this while the game was going on, the only sad thing really for me is I think that's probably the last time we see him in Arsenal shirt. Unless obviously there might be a pre-season game where he's not been sold yet, but I mean, Champions League games and Premier League games at the end of the season, so he isn't playing. So that's probably the last proper appearance in a game that means something for Arsenal. Because I'd assume that we'll be buying someone and or promoting someone, and he'll be gone in the summer. So that's the only thing. A little bit of not the way I'd liked to have seen him go out, letting a goal like that in. But yeah, go on then, give it to me, because I know you've got some stronger views than me. I don't think they're different, but you just have a
away with
the way you were speaking before the pod. I was like, oh. Roasting.
Well, this is because I tweeted, I think, like you say, maybe we've waxed lyrical about this debate for such a long time, and it's been very, very quiet. And about 3 pods or so ago, like, you're right, I said something like, "No one's talking now, no one's having this debate now," and I'm annoyed that I have to bring it back up again in my own self, to be honest, more than anything. But like when I say someone said redemption, it was because he did make a good save in the second half. He might have made 2, actually.
But should he have been there in the first place?
Well, that's my point. In my view, I don't really care that he made those saves. They're saves to be made, and keepers will make them. You can make comparisons all you like. Would we have been in a position where that game was 1-1? Would it have not been for him? Would we have put that game further out of the hands of Brentford? That goal gave them belief. And I just can't get past the fact that obviously he needs to be putting himself in the shop window. His time at Arsenal is done. That much is obvious. He's not going to be a bench player. He won't want to. He will want to fight for his place in the England setup, albeit I don't know how he doesn't get ahead of Pickford anyway. That's more obvious now because he doesn't play. But when he was playing, he still wasn't getting ahead of Pickford. So he'll obviously want to go for a Premier League side and be able to do that. So this is his opportunity. And I just can't, I don't understand it. I don't understand how you've got the ball at your feet, you've got a player running at you. I know the boss has told you to play it short and play it in the defense, but if you're in that situation, just get rid of the fucking thing. Like, it makes no sense to me how.
He just thought he had more time, mate. That's
I
genuinely.
mean, like, I just honestly, I mean, maybe I'm making too much of a meal out of this, but like, his confidence is shot. He's gone down, and I get probably part of the reasons why. We've talked to mates, I've talked to other people. The whole goalkeeping situation, how it was handled, was maybe incorrectly done by Mikel Arteta. But I think I talked to someone on social media a couple of weeks back, and the moment that sticks in my mind is that game against Southampton when he gave that ball away in the first whatever it was 2 minutes or 1 minute, and they scored that goal. He was done, absolutely done, and he's done it. He has done that mistake like 4 times in an Arsenal shirt. It's unforgivable. Arteta always talks about non-negotiables, and one of his probably non-negotiables is don't fucking pass the other opposition striker in your 16-yard box or whatever. It's just bonkers to me. And so he's got some relief within himself that he made some good saves and he brought himself back into the game. The funniest thing to me is when we went 2-1 up, he was giving it the old ears again to the crowd. And it's like, what? Get your head in the game. You know how Carragher always says, get down the tunnel to Arteta. It's that kind of thing. You see, just a side note. Did you see Arteta gave the old Klopp?
Yeah.
Fists again.
Yeah.
I just don't know if that's ever going to come back to bite us.
Well, depends.
It does depend. You know what I mean? We win the league. It's fantastic and funny. If we don't, Liverpool fans are going to be like jumping on like that. Nobody's business.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough said about Ramsdale, I guess. I suppose we are in agreement. I'm just kind of like you. He's a nice guy, right? And people like him. And he was, when we talk about some of the reason why we bought to the almost cloud 9 last year, the Zinchenko, Jesus, Ramsdale, they were part of that group of players that elevated us. And we've now had to make peace with the fact that they didn't elevate us enough, and we needed other players to elevate us enough. And that's what's happening now.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit pre-pod about this, and I think we wanted to talk about some of the players down here because the left-hand side felt very different in this game.
Yeah.
In the variety of different reasons. I think you wanted to go and talk about Leandro Trossard because he wasn't doing enough for you, right?
I don't know if it wasn't doing enough. It's just his game. I don't like his game in the style that we're playing at the moment. Multiple times the ball comes over to the left side. He doesn't have pace to take the ball forward. Right. I think there was one amazing piece of distribution from Ramsdale, right? I think, and yeah, okay, no, it was. It was.
No, I agree.
It was a great piece of distribution. Leo's one-on-one, basically. Well, he's basically through on goal. Now, if that's Martinelli, he ain't getting caught. He's going one-on-one with a keeper, but Leo didn't have the pace. And the same, and then we made an absolute mess of it, to be honest, from there. But then multiple times during the game, that ball comes over to the left, and I don't see Leo willing to always take on the player in front of him, get to the byline, use his pace, because he doesn't have it. So he tends to cut back in on the right side on his right foot, and then the ball goes across to the other side. And that I saw repeated times, and I just felt that Leo adds something to us. I think he adds more coming off the bench, just being honest. I always see him get goals when he's off the bench, but when he starts, I've always felt he's never quite been at the level we need him at. And I think that's partly because the way that we like to play, we need Martinelli to knacker the wing back first, so then Leo can come on and pick up where Martinelli leaves off. But when you're playing in that position and you lack certain attributes, I think that he isn't as productive as I'd like him to be. And that's kind of, is it a criticism? I don't think it's a criticism. I think it's a realizing of who we have and how we use him. And I think that we've said continuously we need another winger, right? So,
yep.
I'd rather have another a pacey backup winger, because Reece Nelson isn't, maybe he would have been it, but he's not at the level. So we're just kind of missing a player, because Leo's great. He can come on and play in the 8. He can kind of go down that false 9 route down the middle. He comes on, gets a goal. I've got no complaints about him in regards to how we've been using him, but how we overall. But today, in regards to having him as that starting position, I don't ever feel like we get as much out of him as we see when he comes off the bench. And that's the kind of the main thing for the left-hand side. I think we miss Martinelli today. Did they say how long Gabby's out for?
No, but I don't think it seems. I think there's a lot of talk that he'll be back for Porto, and like you say, like I agree with you. How we've used Leo has been bench part player and offers a lot from that position. And we were forced. Our hand was forced this game, right? Martinelli was either rested or injured, and thus we needed to. And some of his intricate play and his ball at his feet kind of play is really, really good. He did on a couple of occasions. He'll hold the ball up and he'll get his body in the way and he'll break up play a little bit and he'll release people. But like I say, maybe it's his pace. One thing I do like about Leo is he does take shots. Martinelli does not take shots. Martinelli drives at that byline to cut back, and he does it quite often. Leo will take opportunities when they come to him, especially cutting in, like similar to Saka on the other side. When he cuts inside, you probably know what's going to happen. It's going to be a 30-yard shot. Some of them are a bit of a damn squib, but like, there's a couple that have been decent for us.
Yeah, but he's scored some goals that way, right? As I say, like he gets goals for us. Yeah. It's just a difference in his performance from when he comes off the bench and when he starts. And in the absence of Martinelli, potentially in the next 10 plus games to the end of the season, if he's starting, we need more end product.
Yeah, the left-hand side generally just felt very, I don't know, disengaged, or very, like, maybe it is just the Martinelli absence that did mean that our play down that side was less dynamic, a bit more fragmented, a bit more kind of broken up. Declan Rice didn't seem to be that kind of intricate in that side of play either. Kiwior, there was one thing I did take a note of that I was writing down during this game. Maybe you saw it too. Does some of the passing from Kiwior concern you? Yeah, I'm sure I saw at least 3 loose passes here. As long as he's doing them where it's not like giving them to oppositions in the final third.
Well, I saw him trying to come beat. What I observed today was he was playing a lot higher up the pitch in his passing, and he was trying to kind of get involved when how Zinchenko used to get involved last season with the free. And I like the fact that he's trying that. I think he's gaining more confidence with clean sheets and more game time. However, he's still got an error in him occasionally. And but don't get me wrong, I mean, the way he's been playing, it's been pretty solid. Defensively, he's a lot stronger than Zinni. So I
don't agree with you.
Oh, go on then.
I don't agree with you. Let's talk about.
Kivior's a defender, though, right? We're in this now. We should talk about this. Kivior's a pure defender. Zinni's not.
Yeah, okay. Zinchenko's been beaten once all season. That genuinely been beaten once all season. I don't know why everyone seems to hook on this idea that he's not a good defender. He's not. I don't feel that's his like primary attribute. But I think it would be. Although we've been really, really good since he's been injured, I don't put it down to the fact that because he's not been playing is the reason why we've been good.
Yeah, but he is injured a lot as well, right?
And granted, and that's why I don't know. I was going to leave this for the parking lot, but since we got onto the subject, there was talk this week of a bid from the continent in the region of like 40 million.
Bayern Munich, right? That's what I read.
Yeah.
Sold.
I mean, it seems like a crazy amount of money to me. We paid less than that for him.
Sold.
Would you genuinely just jump on it that grenade as quickly as that?
I think Timber, Tomiyasu, I think Kivior. I think we've got. I think we can survive without him. I think financial fair play will kick in if you've got that kind of money coming around. He elevated us, but now we need to elevate further. So, that's my.
No, I know. I mean, I get it, and I know where you're coming from. We are predominantly not very good at selling players either. So.
Yeah, maybe I'm not. Again, we never get the money also touted. It's like 50 million for Balogun, took 35. So
yeah, what happens to him?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that if I'm only saying yes, sell him if that kind of money's coming in. Obviously, I think you have to take it. I don't know if we would actually get that kind of money coming in, then that's another question. But we continue to go levels, and there's an element of, you can tell in my voice there, it's like I'm not being sentimental. Kind of like Zinni, I think he brings a lot of leadership to the group, which is great, and that did help elevate our team last season. I think he helped come in, and he was like, he gave the team confidence last season that they were at the level.
Always won. How many was
they didn't
4?
Yeah, but he came in and looked at how we were training, and he told the team that you can win the league, because I don't think Arsenal players had the belief of the level they were at. And then I think him and Jesus coming in, they were able to give the team belief. So I think that leadership he brings is really important. However, I think the leadership is maybe more valuable than some of the stuff at times he does on the field. And so the sentimental part of me, it would be always like, yeah, keep him. But I think the financial brain thinks 40 million, we could use that financial fair play, elevate the squad to another level. So yeah, difficult decision. But at the end of the day, he's only been at a couple of seasons. He's not like an Arsenal legend. It's not like we can say it's not like letting Saka go. So
he's a very Marmite player as well, Zinchenko. He does seem to split opinions of fan base quite a lot. And I always put it down to the fact that he is very emotive as a player.
Yeah.
You see him often trying to G up the crowd. He also was quite a fraught deterrent of obviously the Ukrainian kind of stuff going on social media that has flared people's opinions up as well. He's obviously not a shrinking violet when it comes to a lot of the political and and the football pitch, and bringing those two things together that maybe has separated opinion somewhat.
Yeah, no, I think he's got views, he's got opinions, and I guess within reason. I don't know what's in his contract, but he can share them how he wants.
Yeah, he's not Mesut Ozil. Let's switch sides of the pitch and move on to the shit house. Benny Blanco once again cropping up absolute G in this game. I want you, because you brought him up last time. You said to me what a game he had.
Yeah,
it's this game again, right? We're going to talk about him again.
He's just been consistently playing at a high level recently. I mean, two things that stood out. So obviously the assist for Rice's header. Oh, beautiful pinpoint, the ball in, the way the way he stroked the pass into the box, the height, the speed, the way it kind of lofted and then dipped a bit. It was just a lovely, well struck ball. The other stuff, as you mentioned, the shithousery. I just love what he did in the penalty area. Did you see it with it was the corner coming in, they were defending the corner, and he was getting pissed off with one of their defenders, and so he was just like, "Oh, bugger off," and just
push you over.
Yeah.
And like, he didn't get a foul for it either, which just makes
the ref didn't see it. It was brilliant. Yeah. And I thought I was like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. We missed that little bit of Gabriel and him at the back. Saliba's not quite. Saliba is strong. I don't see the same aggressiveness quite in Saliba. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope he proves me wrong.
He seems like quite nice, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Saliba, by comparison, like, you don't want to. I'd hate to be playing up against Gabriel. He feels like an absolute arsehole, an absolute horrible person.
Yeah.
As a defender, because he just looks like he's the type of guy, if you're playing Sunday League and he's in your ear the whole game going, "Your mum," like saying stuff in your ear, getting right up against you, absolutely horrid.
Remind me of that on Monday Night Football, Griff.
I'll do it.
Yeah. But I having Gabriel, having White, having that little bit of shithousery, that's that kind of nastiness that I think we've lacked. It's not that we want our team to be a nasty team, but you've got to be a little bit nasty to win a league title. And that combined with the stature, the size, strength, makes us an intimidating side to play these days. So I'm all for it. I'm all for this little bit of shithousery that he does. And I'm loving his performances at the moment. He's been pretty darn consistent, overlapping, playing some great balls into the box. Just he's making Saka and Odegaard shine as well, because we've really got that little intricate kind of triangle back in that space at the moment. That's been very prominent since the sunny Dubai break that the team took. He's maybe that was it. Maybe he just needs to get on the tanning bed for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about left-hand side and we had those triangles. Yeah, it's certainly proving a bit better in the right-hand side at the moment. And he had the assist for obviously Kai's goal as well. And just like overlapping a lot more, absolutely busting a gut to get to the byline and cut that ball back in. Just a really confident footballer. I do love that every time we have a corner. I love when he's around the goalkeeper. I like just watching it. And he is, like you say, maybe that like Arsenal in our past have always been, there's nothing about us. People can get in our face and and we cower or we shrink in those kind of moments. And we certainly don't do that anymore. And I like that we've learned a bit of those dark arts with Ben White in the box, getting away with little shoves and niggles here and there. There was one that always, I can't remember who it was against, and we got it chalked off because of VAR, because he blocked off the goal.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I mean, there wasn't a lot in it, but like he does that pretty much every single corner. He's an absolute nuisance in the box, and other players must hate him, absolutely hate him. I think that's part of the reason why he doesn't get in the England setup, right? Because there's some animosity between him and other players that they just don't get on.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, some reason, but he gets on well with all the Arsenal lads. So I don't know.
I know.
I think,
but like I said, one of those players you probably don't want to play against, but would love having in your side. But that's that for me that's a good football player. They're the type of football players that you can recognise and go, hate to play against him, love playing with him. What's not to like?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I'm quite happy he doesn't play for England. I think it's England's loss, to be honest. I think, especially given the fact
pressure for us.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And actually, to be completely fair, I mean, obviously we're biased. We watch him week in, week out. Other teams don't watch him, and so when he comes playing England, they're questioning. And when you've got like Trippier and Trent Alexander-Arnold and Kyle Walker, I'm like, hang on though, he's an amazing centre back too. You could put him and Kyle Walker at centre back, and then still have Trent Alexander-Arnold or Trippier playing right back, Luke Shaw left back. That's a much better defence than playing Maguire and Stones, in my opinion. But you know, Southgate. Once upon a time, we trusted in him in 2018 in the World Cup when he wore a waistcoat and looked credible. And now I don't know what the hell he's doing. So, yeah.
Yeah, twice on England tonight, Jace. I'm actually going to see England in a couple of weeks. I've never seen England before.
Have you never?
So, I've never seen England before because I lie. I talk rubbish.
Euros.
Went to the quarterfinal at the Euros. The semi-final at the Euros. Sorry. So that's the only time I've seen England. And that was obviously a good environment. But usually international football is absolutely docile and I hate it.
So why are you going to watch it?
Because it was a freebie. So not by choice.
Fair enough.
Right. I'm going to go in on this one first, Chase, because I just want to. So this segment's called Waka Waka. In obviously an ode to the greatest song of Premier League history. That was obviously meant as a tongue-in-cheek and has now become an absolute anthem for our crowd. But I want to talk about King Kai Havertz, because we talked about my apology letter in the past, and that got sent in the post, and I think even before the pod we were quickly talking and going, that was his best game. No, that was his best game. And then there's continued levels to his ability to what he's done for this football club. In my opinion, he's transformed us, entirely transformed what Arsenal Football Club are doing and how we play. He is an enigma of a player. I can't describe him. I don't understand it, and I'm not sure I even want to understand it either. He looks like a player who can't play football. He looks like a gangly, tall, non-muscular, non-statured kind of player. He looks like in his post-match interview, he just comes across as not bothered. We've talked about his play in the past being relatively lackadaisical and not necessarily being that enthused. He single-handedly won us this game. He brought us back into the Luton game when we played Luton. I think we were down, or at least we were drawing. He brought us back into that game. He assisted the goal against Man City. These are big, big moments. And the fact of the matter is that now Jesus is not getting back into this team. there is no way that I am not starting Kai Havertz against Man City in a couple of weeks' time, because he's transformed us, what he does. And I can't even describe the kind of position that he plays. It kind of is a false nine, but isn't. Sometimes he is out and out striker. Sometimes he's left eight. Sometimes it's everywhere. Credit to him again for just being just an absolute baller and playing in this team. It's you honestly, Jace, if me and you had a look back when we first started doing this podcast back in August, or just after we'd signed him, and we were going, what the fuck have we just done? We have signed an absolute nonsense player from Chelsea whose only crowning moment is the goal that he scored in the Champions League final. Other than that, he had a pretty non anything career at Chelsea. We paid over the odds for him by all accounts at that time, because we were like, that's a stupid amount of money to pay for him. And nobody could see what Arteta saw in this player. We're all eating humble pie right now because he's incredible and I love him.
So I love the position that we've found for him. I think, ironically, Chelsea fans were like, he's not a striker. Well, he's playing up front for us and he's doing a bloody good job and scoring week in, week out. There's a couple of things that I love about him, particularly the way he can actually run through the middle. He's seeming to get onto balls through the middle and be coming through on goal game on game. I mean, he's not always scoring those. That's the only criticism I maybe have of his current performances. He isn't always putting away those one-on-ones. Tends to be on the left side of the front. Those balls come through. Pardon me. And sometimes he finishes them. And like today, he had a chance early on in the game, I think. And
the little dink. He needed to dink it over the goalkeeper, and it just went a little bit wide. That would have been. Yeah, was that a throw from Ramsdale? I can't remember.
I can't.
Was it a ball from Jorginho? It was one of those two, but it was incredible play, whatever it was.
Yeah, and I thought he'd scored, and obviously he didn't take that one, but he keeps getting in those positions, and it's great to see. I guess the questions really I have for you are, okay, based on that, do we need to put our money in a striker in the summer, or do we need to instead invest in a winger? And then you're going to be left with Havertz and Jesus as your front two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see us getting rid of Jesus anyway, and this is what, because he can also be relatively versatile in playing winger, as he did today when he came on. I don't think he's as good in that position. I think we saw enough of Ivan Toney today to recognise that he's not the one. He's not the one we need or want. I think that, I don't know if you agree with that.
I mean, he's not really done anything since he's been back, has he? But it's not really a squad that he can do much in, to be honest.
Well, maybe there's a lot of injuries and stuff, but he obviously, a part of the reason why he's so everyone likes him is I think he scored like 20 or something in the season before in this same Brentford team. So I don't necessarily see all that, but I know where you're going. I think the only option we're currently looking at has got to be Osimhen. If you can get Osimhen, then I think we will. There's talk of him not being able to go to Chelsea, and Chelsea can't spend any money. They've got to get rid of some players because they're going to be in trouble if they don't.
I mean, they're buying Aaron Ramsdale, aren't
they? They can have him if they like. Yeah, I don't know, Jace. It's a good question because at this moment in time, I'd say we don't need one. And I'd say a midfielder and a winger are where our priorities should be. Someone else that can deputise Martin Odegaard and be a bit more versatile, maybe could play as a left eight as well as a backup for Saka. Is what, or not backup. I would actually say someone that can compete at the same level as Saka to put some pressure on him and to give him some rest in the legs as well, because he just starts. The fact that he played against Sheffield United, I know he was taken off at half time because he was ill. We're playing him even when he's ill, so we really do need something that can at least fill into that void. So at this moment in time, I don't think a striker is the priority based on what we've seen.
Yeah, if we were going to continue to play the way we're playing, then yeah, I could see why we say that. But as long as we don't have any more slumps and like we've seen maybe the first half of the season.
Yeah,
but I've said for a while
at some point they're going to have to.
I've said for a while that we needed a Saka backup. I've been saying that the whole time. So I think the fact that we found that position for Kai means that we need a backup for then the left 8/central midfield role, because he's not going to play there anymore. and Jorginho can't play every game, even though we're probably going to extend him. El Neni is just, I think, done. I think this will be his last year. I think he either goes or he might even. I could see something really silly like El Neni retiring and going on the coaching staff. That sounds
Yeah,
really
I think
silly.
there's got to be a role at Arsenal for him because it's so funny that he's our longest standing player currently, right? I think.
Yeah, he's been there a long time. But so we do need that midfielder, but obviously Saka backup is what I would, or someone to compete with Saka is what I would prioritize. And I'd probably start looking at Bayer Leverkusen and seeing how much some of their players are going to go for, because we might need to get saving. Because I feel like that's the
or selling Zinchenko to free up some of those funds, Jess.
Yeah, maybe.
Right, so we both love Kai Havertz, and that much is said. Whether or not we need a striker will be something we obviously get into more in the summer. I wanted to bring up this part, and I know that maybe it might be sour grapes, perhaps, depending on how other fans of the club might look at it. I called this section farce or VAR-CE, depending on how my F's and my V's look. Paul Tierney was back on VAR after giving an astronomically bad call at the Liverpool game, which eventually cost Nottingham Forest any of the points at that game, and Liverpool won in the dying embers of that game because he didn't give them the ball back after losing it. And his punishment was to do VAR for an Arsenal game in a title challenge. Absolutely bonkers. And in my opinion, I'm not sure. Actually, I want to go to you first. There were two calls in here. There was a tug on Gabriel's shirt. There was a trip on Kai Havertz. What do you think about either of those two, Jace?
It's really hard to analyze these. And the reason is because we won. And I didn't think there was much in them. But if we hadn't have won, maybe I'd be screaming from the rooftops. So it's a hard one. Based on the circumstance of you asking me that question and the fact that we won. The Kai Havertz one didn't really look like one for me, personally. I didn't feel there was much in that at all. The one on Gabriel, the shirt tug, that's more unclear. And I don't actually know even how the VAR team can make a decision. Because it's not like you can understand or feel the force that Gabriel's being tugged at. You can just see a tug. You don't know how aggressive that tug is. You don't know the force that's going through his shirt into his body and how that's actually made him fall over. And plus the camera slowed down into slow-mo. So actually, how does that actually feel and look in real time? It's really hard. And they struggled even to find angles on that one, if I remember right.
There's only one, and one really far away as well.
So that one was the one where I was like, again, if it's a light tug, I'm not sure if I'm going to give it. And I think that's what the conclusion that they came to. But at the same time, I mean, he's tugged his shirt. He's gone down. It's a foul. So, I mean, I'm just glad I'm not a referee, mate. And I'm just glad we won, because else we might be lynching people as usual. But
yeah, I mean, that for me is that's the problem. Like you say, context is everything, and we won this game. We don't really care so much, and if we hadn't, we would have probably been absolutely fuming. I just my annoyance here, and I don't know every letter of the law. Like I say, I don't know. Like you say, I don't know about force. I don't know about like if there's certain aspects of the positioning and other bits that are going to influence the decision. What I do know, or at least I think I know, if that shirt pull was in the middle of the pitch and we were on the break or on the counter, that's a foul. If it was even in the middle of the pitch and there was nothing going on, and Odegaard turned a player and he got a shirt pulled and he went down like that, it's a foul. When that Kai trip, middle of the pitch, it's a foul. And it just doesn't make any sense to me, like in terms of how you change your decision making based on proximity to the goal. And I'm also really annoyed at just how the referees are now. There's always been this conversation, and we've had it before, where we say that basically a referee's decision has to be clear and obvious for them to overturn a decision. We're getting into the place now where they just aren't making decisions.
Oh no, that's the thing. That the ref didn't make any of the calls. I don't think he felt like he could.
Well, like you said, maybe I couldn't see it. There's players in the way, whatever it might have been. But at the same time, then it's like the context of how that decision works. Then, because it used to be a decision by the ref is made, whether he gives it or not, and then VAR would overturn it only if it was clear and obvious. does the notion then of VAR change based on the referee not making any decision, and then it's fully in VAR's hands, and that the ref has no influence over it?
That's what I observed tonight. I mean, he was waiting for the checks. He didn't do anything about it.
I know, but then would you not think that, like, if he said at the moment, I didn't see it, I'm not close enough to it, there was players in the way, whatever it was, I wasn't up with the pace of the game, whatever the thing, look at the screen. That's what it's there to do. You're the referee, you're the decision maker. Here's the information. It's like at work. If you want to give your manager, you give all your manager the context and the information of a decision so they can make the decision. If they don't want you to make the decision, that's I'm like I say, maybe we would be feeling differently if we had have drawn this game. I don't really care so much about this part, other than the fact that we've had lots of VAR kind of ish decisions. The biggest one for me has always been that Bruno Guimaraes elbow in the face. That for me was always the one that's like, I cannot fathom any world in which that's not a red card. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
What about the not drawing the lines?
I mean, unforgivable. Yeah, I agree with you, but maybe there's been too many. And this is just another blunder in a series of other blunders that we've had. How
many public apologies have we had?
Oh, because they're going to chalk up points on the board, those public apologies. If Liverpool end up winning the league by any more 1 or 2 points, we're going to be looking back at that Nottingham Forest game going, what in the world? Because, I mean, even what's more annoying is Nottingham Forest should have cleared their lines in the last minute of that game. But, there's other butterfly effects that are happening throughout this league that have caused other things going on. But yeah, I agree with you. It's like just more apologies than probably good performances by any referees out there, which is a real indictment of the PGMOL or PMGOL, whichever way around it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Well, Arsenal top of the league, Jace. So ultimately, inconsequential, all of this nonsense about Portini and VAR, because we won the game and we're top of the league. Parking lot. I was only going to say we've got a game against Porto Tuesday night. We are 1-0 down. No away goals. We've won every game on the bounce since then, and those before it too. How are you feeling? Not well, but I can tell by your face. You're very nervous, it looks, James. Very nervous.
I'm nervous about this game, to be honest, mate. I put all my eggs in the Champions League basket. I still kind of do. I think that... I say I do. Look, I want to win this game more than I think I want to see us win the league. I want to see us win the Champions League. Why? I've never seen us win the Champions League. I still have heartache from Paris 2006. So that's what I want. The problem is, actually, I was saying at the beginning of the season, I think it's easier for us to win the Champions League. Why? It's knockout competitions. Good teams can get knocked out and you can get easier teams. So, it's not like the Premier League where it's consistent. You got to play with these teams and you got to be the best of the best. But actually, I've realised and come to the conclusion we're not that good at knockout football under Arteta. Like, think we should have won at least one Europa League. The quality of squad we had. And we lost last season. We knocked out against Sporting Lisbon, and we lost Saliba because of it, and that ruined our Premier League title running.
Yeah, that was it.
Like, we're not good at knockout football, and the fact that we went to Porto and didn't really do much, and then just managed to concede a goal. It's like, oh, this again. So I am worried about the game, to be honest. I think you can throw the Premier League form out the window a little bit in Champions League. It's at home as well, so I don't know. Sometimes, sometimes you don't know what team turns up when you're playing at home at the moment. Sometimes I feel more confident. Well, in the league, I feel more confident a bit when we play away. So that's where we seem to score the loads of goals. But look, we've got a much superior squad to Porto. We are in form, in theory. The players will be up for it. If they're not up for it, I want to know why. There's this game, and then there's a big break with internationals. So look, I am nervous. I think any Arsenal fan is going to be. If they're not nervous, they're lying, because it means a lot this game. We'll go for it. We're going to go for it.
I was not nervous then, Jace. Like, I'm going to be a liar.
Well, I'm going to be. Yeah, you are. If that's what you're saying. Look, I reckon we're going to. I'd like to think we can do a 3-1 home win. That's what I want.
I mean, Chase, you think it's going to be a 3-1 home win every single time that we play?
No, but I genuinely do think it's going to be a 3-1 home win. Like, I think we'll score, but I don't see us sometimes. You know, there's just certain games, like, where I don't see us not conceding.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. Like, unfortunately, like, you know, last few games in the league, obviously, we kept clean sheets. And I think I predicted like a 3 or 4-0 or something last time we played Sheffield United or whenever it was in the game before. But yeah, this one, a little bit nervy about it. A little bit nervy. But it's because it means a lot.
It does.
I have faith in the boys.
Yeah, I wonder. Like, maybe it's just like I say that PTSD, some of that feeling of you know, it's been a while since you've been in the Champions League, right? And I don't know why, as Arsenal fans, we always look forward to the Champions League so much. Yet our performances in it have been so shambolic that it's like, why do we care so much in getting into it to then get knocked out in the quarterfinals by Bayern Munich 7-2 or 8-2? Like, it's just. So I get where you're coming from.
It's not going to happen this year, mate.
I know. And this is where you've got to kind of re-educate yourself on, like, we're fucking good. Like, we're the best team in Europe right now, both in terms of like actual output, goals, XG, position in the table. We're the fucking best. We're the nuts.
And better than Bayer Leverkusen.
Better than Bayer Leverkusen. Germany's a different league, Jace. Come on, man. It's a different, like, it's not the same. Okay. We're the best team in Europe. But that is just like, I mean, yeah, great. Imagine if we get to a final with Bayer Leverkusen. They're not in the Champions League. I think they're out, aren't they?
I don't know.
But I thought I watched a bit of Real Madrid in the week, and I'm not scared by them. I don't think that Jude Bellingham's great, and he's a fantastic player. But he's the only one I truly worry about in that setup. PSG don't seem to worry me so much.
Yeah,
but it's getting over maybe that mental block for Arsenal. Of maybe like some of these players, this is like their first, obviously, foray, and I think all of them are probably their first foray in an Arsenal shirt, at least. Obviously, people like Zinni and Jesus and etc. have played for like Man City and other teams and not won it with them. But you know, there's just something that we need to kind of get over in terms of our confidence, in terms of our ability. I think maybe there's a bit of naivety on Arteta's part. The way that we approached that game with Porto in the away leg just seemed a bit odd to me. Like it seemed like we were setting ourselves up for a draw. That's what we wanted, knowing that we could take it back to our place and take the win. And maybe we shouldn't have. We should have just played the way that we play football. If we played the way that we play, people won't beat us. I truly believe that at the moment. It's like when we played Liverpool, we played them off the park. Liverpool, when we played them, absolutely obliterated them. When we played City, we played our way and we played an unreal game. It was like a match of chess, that game against them. And I expect much of the same against them at the Etihad. We're just really good. I just need us to believe that. Like you say, there's a little bit of belief and thought process that goes in behind it to truly kind of want it and need it and see what happens. But yeah, I was probably going to say I'm not nervous, Jace, but obviously, like you say, I'm lying. So maybe I am in my heart of hearts.
It's natural to be a bit nervous for this game.
Yeah, it's exciting though. Like this is what we've always wanted. Big European nights, knockout competition under the lights with the opportunity to, you know, get through to the quarters. Is it the quarters? Yeah. Like that's what we want. So I mean, if our players truly believe in themselves and want it to, we'll get it. I don't think there's any qualms.
I mean, we're down at Lazio, weren't they? And they came back and won and went through. So we can do the same. We
can do it too. Yeah, why not? Yeah. Right. We're going to be hopefully back for that game then, Jace. Let's see when we're going to record, whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday. I suppose we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't planned that far ahead.
Me neither.
We'll be around.
So let's see how we feel. We might be in euphoric, joyful jubilation, and so we might go live. And if we lose, we'll just forget about it and won't do it. That's the way it goes. If Jace, if we've got audience, you know, they're tuned in, they're on YouTube, they're on Spotify. What do we want those gang to do?
Yeah, YouTube, you can subscribe. You can leave a like or a comment. We love to hear comments and feedback. So yeah, please do that. And if you are on your Apple Podcast or Spotify, then hit the subscribe button. Get the latest episode every time we post. And again, give us a review. And a 5-star review. That's great.
5 stars.
5-star.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure as always. Arsenal top of the league. What's not to like? We will see you again in the week after Arsenal smash Porto and send ourselves into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Have a good evening.
Cheers, guys.
Come on!